Hello everyone, this is Roxana Popet with Step on Your Fears, and I am live now and so excited to have our very first Facebook group Step on Your Fears live. I have prepared a great topic for you, and it is about fear and loss. This is a topic that I have encountered several times in my existence before NLP and after, because it is such a strong feeling of loss every time I used to have an accomplishment, or every time I used to feel that I would get something that I wouldn't even want to get that certain thing because I'd be afraid I'd lose it. Did this ever occur to you? Maybe when you were with someone new and you thought, this is too good to be true, this just cannot be real. So I might as well just take my mind of it. Or maybe you lost someone that you loved and you felt a great feeling of loss. Or is it that you wanted a certain thing, a certain object in your home, or maybe a car, or maybe even more, but then you said, I don't deserve this. It's best if I just leave it aside for someone else, and maybe one day, someday, and and you don't even realize, before you even come to realize, fear creeps in so strong that you lose focus from that thing, from that object, or maybe that person, or that experience that you have always wanted. Now, what to do when this happens? I am going to wait for a bit longer, so several of you come in and join me on the live, because I want to get your opinion on this. What happens when you truly want something, but then fear creeps in and you get stuck? Your mind is so stuck that you think, it's never going to happen to me. I don't deserve it. It's too good to be true. I want to get your feedback on this. I want you to be as interactive as possible. I look forward to learning from you as well. And I am very eager to see your questions on this topic, fear and loss. Before we get started, let me give you an example. So right now we are in the middle of buying a new place to move in Timișoara in Romania, after we moved from Belgium, from Antwerp. And in March we found a pretty good deal towards the Giroc part of the city, which is in the suburbs. Maybe the ones that are from Timișoara know what I'm talking about. And this was a really good deal. It was a new apartment, it had 2 rooms, it was in a very nice area, freshly built, exactly what I have always wanted. But then I had some thoughts that crept in without me even realizing. Oh my gosh, this is just too good to be true. The timing is perfect. The apartment looks great. We have everything with the bank. We have everything in order. Oh my gosh, are we going to really make it? And I have to tell you that fear was so strong that I attracted all sorts of doubts, insecurities, and the deal was no longer available. And we were so close to having it. So that's why I wanted to maybe get your stories. Did it ever happen to you that you were so close to getting something, maybe an object, an apartment, a car, an experience, and maybe you wanted to travel somewhere? So did it happen to you that you were so close, maybe this close, but then at the end it fell apart? Okay, so what can we do to avoid this from happening again? In my case, the best solution that I have found was to be grateful for the circumstance, for the timing, for the exact moment I was in right that moment. Being grateful, at first, a few years ago when I first heard about it, it seemed really, really strange. It seemed like spiritual cocoa jumbo, a strange thing that I could not really understand. How can I be grateful for something that I really don't like because I want to get something new, I want to get something better out of this? Can I really like what I have now? And it's yes. Even if it's a very painful circumstance, even if it's a really undesirable place where you are living, if you don't grow, if you don't educate your mind on being grateful for even the smallest good part that you find in the huge negative part, you are never going to do this. Even when you have a castle, because this is something that you need to grow over time. It takes time as you need to grow a garden, step by step, bit by bit. Then, after a few days of uncertainties and me not being too happy with what happened because we have lost a very good deal with that apartment, I began to question myself because I am an NLP trainer. I have all the answers, right? My mind is under my control. And I got to the conclusion that, whoa, I need to really enjoy and really like the place where I am right now, even if it was crowded, even if the pandemic began, even if I was pregnant and not feeling my best before the pandemic started. And as soon as I did that, we found an amazing place to rent, very close to where my parents were living. It was a great, modern, nice place with a view. It had everything we needed just to move in. So how important is it to really be grateful and enjoy the place you are in right now, or enjoy the person you are with right now? It may happen that sometimes we simply do not understand how valuable that little thing that we consider, that we take for granted is. And I want to say hello to Stephanie. Hi Stephanie, how are you doing? It's so great to have you here. And Lavinia Mate, great to have you. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you for being here. Ladies, if you have any input about fear and loss, I look forward to getting your ideas, your concepts, your way of seeing things, because it's really such an important thing to get together as a group, as a community, and learn from each other, have the ideas put together, and simply enjoy our time together. Before you guys, let me just wave. I waved at you, Stephanie, and I'm waving at Lavinia. Yeah, this is nice. This is very nice and interactive. It's the first time I'm doing this, so bear with me if something goes wrong, if something is not looking right, or maybe with the lights, because we've done some tests, but it's still maybe a bit of work to prepare everything. So we are talking about fear and loss. What is your opinion about this? What would a solution be in your opinion? Because I really want to get to know how you think when it comes to loss. I have come to discover, hello Alina, how are you doing? Thank you for watching, that loss is a very painful feeling. I have had some losses in my life throughout the years, and I lost my grandfather, and it was so much to bear right then that I felt the consequences even after 2 years. I still had some traumatic stress, some post-traumatic stress after I have lost him, because you are never ready to lose someone. And I have discovered, as I begin to analyze my feelings and to check how my mind works with losing something or losing someone or losing an experience, that it's pretty much the same amount of stress when I lose someone I love, or when I lose a very important deal like an apartment or a car, or maybe you lose the keys, or you simply lose an opportunity. Hello Monica, it's great to have you here. How are you doing? So make sure you have your ideas put below, because I really want to get your input on this. How do you deal with the stress of losing something, or maybe losing someone? To me was simply unbearable at first. I would deny it. This is the first reaction that I have. Oh my God, I cannot believe this happened. Did it happen to you? I think you are pretty much on the same page. Now, after denying it, I began blaming myself. The first reaction, the first thing that came to my mind was, how can I have not prepared for this? Because it was obvious it was going to happen. And I'm sorry for the cries you hear in the background. That's my 5-month baby girl Isabel. She's a very vocal baby, and maybe she would have liked to take part in the live. She would have maybe talked more than I do, but maybe a few years later when she grows up. After blaming myself, I realized, okay, what's done is done. Does it make any sense to simply blame myself? It's over, it's done. Let me focus on the solutions. And I was always very grateful when I could find solutions, because when you focus on the thing that you want, that's when the magic happens. Because instead of focusing on the negativity, instead of focusing on the bad that had happened, and you have an awful state of mind, you shift your mind and you see the good things, you see the solutions, you see that, okay, maybe something good is going to come out of this. But this takes practice. Although at first you cannot see the good when you lose something, even if it's a small object, you miss it, you need it, then how can you see the solutions? I was very grateful that I had this neuro-linguistic programming training behind me for quite some years, and I simply began asking myself, okay, this is the present moment. What's going to happen from now on? Simply look at the future, because you know, the past does not have anything to do with who you are right now. The energy is dead. I have a saying that may sound a bit strange at first, but I think that we should let the past rest. It is maybe similar to what we say to when someone passes, when someone goes on the other side, but it's the only thing that we can honestly do. Leave it to rest, and focus on the present, where the energy is. Future and present are the only state of being where you have that strong energy, that creative, powerful energy that drives you, that moves you from any negative pattern. into something that is more creative, that is more beneficial for you, and that gives you hope. Because if you linger too much in a place where you continually drag all of that negative luggage from an experience that is already finished because you no longer have it, it's done, you cannot go back in the past, then you are going to have such a difficult way of seeing the future, even with different circumstances. So one thing I learned as I began to check my emotions, check my patterns, and you know what really helps? Something that you have very handy, and it is a pen and a piece of paper. Simply write it down and throw it away. You no longer need to check it, you just need to write it down, put it on a piece of paper. Then you get fully conscious about it, and you are going to wonder after writing it down, oh my gosh, did this really bother me? Was this so strong back then? Well, I guess it was, because otherwise I wouldn't have felt this strong emotion. But right now, as I look at it, oh my god, it's just amazing. I feel so much better. Having it written on a piece of paper means that you have learned a lesson. It means that you have fully begun to understand that the situation is no longer present, because you are going to put everything that happened in the past tense, right? Because it has happened, it's no longer present. Let me know your thoughts on this. What do you think? What is it that you do when you deal with loss? And hello to my aunt Georgetta. How are you doing? Thank you so much for joining me. I think you are in Germany, if I'm not mistaken. And we were neighbors when I was in in Belgium. I hope that the comments box is working. Let me check. Yeah, it is working. So any input, any questions, any ideas you have about this, I would love to hear it from you. I am going to... Hello Claudia, how are you? Thank you so much for joining. I'm going to tell you another story. This is something that happened to me not too long ago, before I moved to Belgium. And it was about the keys of my apartment where I used to live with my parents. And it's not a big deal to lose your keys. We maybe do this every single time. It is something so usual, so natural, but it does have such a strong frustration, because you could be in a hurry, like I was. I was in a hurry, and I needed to leave the house in order to get a package from the courier, who was parked in such a wrong way on the main street, and I could not find the keys to lock the door. I remember this so strong, and I was so upset. Can you imagine being upset over a pair of keys that I have lost around 2.5 years ago? But it is such a strong impact, such a strong emotion right then and there, that you simply don't know how to deal with it. So in this case, can you be grateful? Not really. Grateful for what? It is a bit difficult to feel grateful when you need to walk outside the door maybe 2 minutes ago and you're still inside. So what I did back then, after trying to get my composure, it was to find solutions. Okay, what can I do? Can I call someone? Can I maybe try to work it out with the courier and ask him to stay a bit longer? Or maybe, can I ask him to park properly come in front of the building block where I used to live, and it would be easier for me to come down a few storages, get the package, and then get back inside with the package. And yeah, this is what I did. I left aside the frustration, I left aside all of the negative torments, because it was really intense. The intensity of the frustration when you lose something is not at all pleasant, and you begin to actually question how important are these keys for you. Are they like a human being? Are they like a friend? Well, they are. When you need something really bad on the spot, in that very moment, it is very, very precious and priceless. I have learned this, and now I began to be more careful. And yeah, after everything finished, I was more grateful that I have a clear mind, so that I will always know where I put my keys. I will pay more attention next time. And I wanted to tell you that even if you have all the answers, but no one has all the answers all the time, even if you have the best trainings in the world, when something negative happens, the intensity of the situation, of that negative situation you are in, is really, really strong. The best way to deal with this is to simply breathe in and breathe out. Simply inhale and exhale. It helps you to move away from that circumstance. It's like going one step back and just looking at it. It's more like an observation rather than a participation. So I encourage you, the next time that you feel frustrated, you feel upset, you feel angry that you have lost something, maybe lost someone, it is so important to observe and not participate. I know it's easier said than done, but trust me, simply inhale, exhale. You are going to feel so much better on the spot, and then try to look for solutions. I say try with a reason. Usually I never use this word, because when you try something, you're not doing it. It's simply doing something but not really doing it. I say try because it's not going to work out from the first attempt. Maybe you are lucky enough to have this working for you from the first attempt. But this takes time, this takes practice, this is educating your mind. How important is it to grow and educate your mind each and every single day, each and every single time something that you don't want happen? Because in a way, life is unpredictable. As much as you try to control everything, as much as you want to have everything put in place, it simply does not work like that. And I encourage you to inhale, exhale. The second thing I would love you to do, to try out, to test out, is to be grateful for what you have right then, right there, in that very moment. What is it that you like? What is it that you appreciate? And you know what? It could be simply the fact that you could inhale and exhale. This is something to be grateful for. When you become grateful, there is something very, very special happening with the connection from your heart with your mind. When we say that we are aligned, it means that we have this authenticity that happens in the middle between how your mind thinks and your heart. And these are two things that are so different most of the times, the rational and the subconscious mind, or the irrational, and simply be grateful for the very small thing that you have next to you. Maybe you could be grateful that you have clothes on. You could be grateful that you have a mouth with which you can talk. You can be grateful that you have a healthy body, or simply be grateful that you have a body. Next, the third step would be to focus on solutions. Try to look for something that you can do right then and there, even if everything else is falling apart. Because, okay, it happened. It's negative, we don't like it. Let's inhale, exhale. I am grateful that I can do that I can inhale and exhale. You don't need to think of any other things if you are very frustrated in that very moment. And then look for solutions. Okay, everything fell apart. What can I do now? I have to thank you so much for participating in our live chat today, Fear and Loss. I hope you have learned some new things, some great important stuff for you, maybe that you can put into practice. And I look forward to having maybe more chats with you in the comment box, even after the live is finished. I thank you very much for your attention. Thank you so much for being here with me today. My purpose is to have at least one live talk like we had today, 30 minutes in the Step on Your Fears group, because I think it's really great as a community that if we get together, we can put all of our ideas in here and just learn from each other and make our lives better. Why not? Step on your fears. Have a great weekend, and I cannot wait to see you next. I look forward to your ideas and opinions. Thank you so much for being with me today. See you soon. Bye.